Hello, everybody. Welcome into SHL Tonight. I am your host, Ace. Alongside me, my wonderful co-host, HFFO. Hiff, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
Had better days, had worse days, but go Habs go.
No Habs, no. I agree. So this is an incredible, exciting episode for us tonight here on SHL Tonight. Got a lot of people already in the audience chatting in, so really appreciate everyone tuning in. And on behalf of the SHL broadcast team, I'd really like to thank the commissioners for allowing us here on SHL Tonight to be the venue in which they are using to reveal our 4 expansion GMs here for the upcoming expansion. So thank you very much. Really appreciate the vote of confidence and really excited to provide a platform to build some excitement about the future of this community. All right. So with that said, I know everyone is here and excited about the expansion GM reveal. And we're going to jump into that shortly. We do have Jess, we do have Frenchie, we do have WannabeFinn here ready to go through some details and stuff on that.
We have an SHL logo posing as WannabeFinn.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's not. It could be an AI deepfake, just like posing with his voice. Not 100% sure because there's no video confirmation. But before we get started, let's go ahead and just jump in and congratulate our three-peat Challenge Cup champions, San Francisco Pride, 3 times in a row. That's the first time ever. So well done. Well done, San Francisco Pride. Congratulations on your Challenge Cup. And just in case you didn't know, there is also, some games to be played this evening here in the SMJHL to determine who's going to win the 4-Star Cup. So that series right now in the 4-Star Cup is tied up at 2 apiece. The Kelowna Knights and the Carolina Kraken are all evened up. So make sure you tune in to see who is going to be hoisting the 4-Star Cup in about 50 minutes for Game 5. Kari says it is time to release the Kraken. Yes, that's great.
I think she said it's time to release the Kraken, but
Oh yeah. It's time to release the Kraken. That was kind of close, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we did have a piece of housekeeping. If everyone can go on Twitch, we're trying to funnel viewers there, as we can do some cool things on Twitch. If we get a certain amount of viewers and time, we can get things like using points to get channel redeems for predictions and stuff, and just add a lot of nuance and excitement to the broadcast itself. So if possible, please head to Twitch and do your viewing there for the SHL tonight.
that would be fantastic. So on that note here, guys, we are trying to gain the affiliate status on our Twitch account because we're trying to do some pretty creative stuff here. I'm sure some of you are familiar with what the PBE is doing with some of their viewer rewards. I'm not saying that the SHL, nor is it, this is way above my pay grade for authorization on any of this stuff. But, we are being a little creative and we're looking into options here for viewer rewards down the road. So please make sure you're tossing follows to our Twitch account. You can find the URL right down here below. On that note, we're also doing some hiring here. So before we do the expansion announcements, we've got a few jobs that we are looking to hire for here in the community, specifically around the broadcast team. Right off the hop, I don't have any concrete details yet on these job postings. So if you're interested in talking more, or you want to do something like this, please drop me a DM and we can kind of maybe, brainstorm some things here. But the jobs in which I would like to talk to you guys about are, we're looking to hire 2 Twitch mods. So as we grow the Twitch account, we want to make sure that we have the appropriate people there to help filter the content and make sure that no bad actors jump in while we're trying to do our broadcasts there. So if you have any experience with Twitch moderation, please drop myself a direct message on Discord and we can have some comms about that. And then additionally, for the broadcast team itself, we are actually looking to expand the SHL Tonight to a new show called the SMJHL Tonight. So we're trying to create a brand new show that's SMJHL focused. And hey, I'll be the first one to admit I'm more focused on the SHL. I'm an SHL GM currently, and I think I am not really going to, give you guys the best service that you need to really talk in a credible manner about the J. So we're looking to find somebody that's passionate about the J to go ahead and bring together a new podcast, just like SHL Tonight, for the J people. So looking for 2 hosts for that. So once again, drop me a direct message on Discord if you're interested in joining and maybe spinning up a new show. Additionally, we are looking for analysts or content creators for the show. Now, you guys are not going to be on webcam or on the podcasts or anything like that, but coming up with good content, some maybe analytics, some data-driven information that maybe
we're really looking for some nerds is what we want. Just
love
some
nerds.
SHL, nerds who can give us some information.
That would be fantastic. So if you guys are interested in, contributing from an analyst perspective, a sheet person, that type of stuff, we would love to also talk to you. And then finally, if you're a graphic designer on the graphics team that would be interested in putting together neat little charts or graphics for the shows as well, would love to talk to you as well. So no one's here to hear me talk about job postings or congratulations. Everyone is here to hear about the news that we have for today's show, and that is the expansion GM reveal. And we are so excited to go into that for you today. So with that said, Hif, any closing thoughts before maybe we look at other things with the commissioners and bring up that whole fun topic?
Yeah, just again, try to focus on the Twitch views, but I'm excited for the future people who are going to host the SMJHL Tonight and others who are going to work with us. Really growing the team is a very exciting aspect, as it means we haven't been completely shitting the bed. So that's always a promising thing to hear.
Yeah, well, Seven, not everybody is as good as Hockey Talk tonight. So whatever. We'll see. We'll see how the next one goes. All right, guys. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump in and welcome in our commissioners to talk about what's next for the community. Hello, commissioners.
Greetings. Bonjour.
Hello,
Hey.
SHL
Hello,
logo.
everyone.
I love the idea that anyone is familiar enough with Finn's voice that someone would deepfake it.
I mean, in today's day and age, it's possible, right?
I feel like you could just grab like some random dude's voice and people would be like, yeah, that's Finn.
That could be Finn. Yeah,
I'd probably
believe it.
just use something from a RuneScape cutscene.
We got some not the French in the chat, so that's great.
That is me.
That is
Oui, oui.
that isn't
Englishy.
Frenchie. This is Noor. We got a Frenchie Stinks on Twitch. Thank you, Trips, for jumping in on Twitch. We got some people on Twitch there. Really appreciate the support on that front there, guys. So commissioners, before we go in, I know that you guys have presented a wonderful slide deck for us to go through today that explains some good data behind the decision around the expansion process. But before we jump into the deck, were there maybe any initial thoughts or, maybe messages to the community around the whole concept of expansion?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's necessarily something we sat down and we were just like, oh, this just sounds fun. We're just going to do that. Expansion is something that we've been monitoring for quite a long time now. I mean, that's something we're constantly looking at because we don't want to end up in a spot where people are not able to find a team to play with. So we're trying to be proactive here and looking at the short term. In the long term here, it just makes most sense to expand by 4 right now, open up those slots, move some people up into the senior league, and clear up some room in the J for some of these newer people that are joining. And as we've seen with the portal, player retention has gone through the roof. People are more engaged than they ever have been. And I'm excited for the future of having a 24-team league. When I first joined the league, we only had 12 teams. So to see that double is incredible. And I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner. Our co-commissioners, any thoughts before we jump into the deck here and get started? Frenchie, I'll throw it over to you first.
I mean, Finn said it pretty well. I'm just excited that we can start moving towards, the actual process of, expansion draft happening and everybody being aware of the brands, the real fun stuff. The behind the scenes is a lot of work. I think a lot of us are ready for it to be kind of over and to move forward and are tired about it. But, I think being here today is a really good point, and I'm stoked at least to be presenting this today.
And might I say, you're doing a wonderful job on camera, Frenchie. Keep it up.
Oh,
good
thanks.
work out of you,
Yeah.
buddy.
I'm doing
Good
my
work.
best Dwight impression. I'm a bit, 45 degree, not necessarily 90, but
Yeah,
just doing
I
my
don't see
best
enough
here.
of your nostrils yet for it
Yeah,
to be a
that's
true
the
Dwight.
issue. That's the issue.
Did you
right?
react to the file though?
I'm out of the playoffs, so unfortunately, it's out of my control at this point.
He reacted to it even though he didn't actually upload.
I did that once. You're right.
That is
God damn it.
the play. What about you, Jess? Before we jump in and get started on the slides, any thoughts on where we're at as a league right now and the expansion itself?
I think the guys touched on the logic behind expansion pretty well. I just kind of wanted to add that not only is it great to be able to expand by 4 teams at once, but just the quality and volume of apps that we got was also incredible. Being able to go into it confidently, knowing that we, whatever choice we made, we were getting 4 really good GMs. Made it harder at the same time, but also was really reassuring because it's kind of a you can't go wrong sort of situation. So even if you are not on this list of 4 people, thank you for putting the effort in and being enough of a part of this community that you want to do that.
Without further ado, well said, by the way, Jess. Without further ado, let's go ahead and just move on to the next slide. Frenchie, I believe you are going to be doing the heavy lifting on the communication on behalf of the commissioners. Is that fair to say, still?
I apparently so. At least on the numbers part of it. Yeah.
Congratulations. You've been
He's our
voluntold.
data
That is your
dude.
responsibility. So here you are. I hand you the show here, Frenchie. Why don't you go ahead and talk through this slide here for our wonderful audience?
All right. Well, so essentially, it's just about explaining, the logic behind how we got to 4 teams to begin with, and just, when we decided to pull the trigger. So basically, when we started considering it more heavily, which was about, start of February, after the big class started emerging, people kept creating, and I think we were somewhere around the 90 mark for the J draft last time. That's when we started pulling, the numbers and looking closer at it. So the first series of numbers essentially pulled from February 17th. That's where we were in the league at the time, where we were pretty certain that expansion was happening. We weren't sure yet as far as 2 or 4, which is essentially what we said in the State of the Union, but we were pretty certain that it was going to go ahead. And the second one is essentially where we were yesterday, I believe. So a few more inactives, which is to be expected, but not that many to where we're very, very justified in our choice of moving forward for 4 teams. And you can switch over to the next one. Oh, I think there's one missing, but that's fine. Okay, it's fine. There's a graph missing. It really isn't an issue. Essentially, to kind of start building the basis of our projections as far as how many people are going to be aging up, going up to the SHL, how many people are to be expected in terms of retirement, and what kind of the state of the league was number wise. We had to pull the numbers from the current people in the J. So that would be the 79, 80, 81, and 82 classes, which you can sort of see in the graph that's currently on screen as far as age outs go. Basically, the age outs are calculated based off of the total class size and minus a 40% historic attrition rate between the first season of the J and the point at which you get called up. So with that in mind, we had a gross number as far as what to expect in terms of people aging up in the next 4 seasons, as far as being able to compare to the amount of retirements. For that, I have to thank Luke. He pulled the 9-season average of 30 per season for me when I asked him. The reason why there's 10 on the screen is because that's calculating current people having retired and recreated. So we're tracking how many retirements are currently ongoing in terms of like people who would technically still be able to play next season once that happens, and people who have already retired and decided to recreate. So this is a bit more of a real number. Before we were still going off of the 30 projection, but that's really, as of today, the real number. And that essentially brings us to, if you want to switch over to the next slide. Oh, there it was. Anyways, oh well. So this is essentially what I was sending nearly like 4 to 5 times per week within the channel and the HO, just to keep track of where we were. So the spots required essentially goes over the numbers I presented in terms of the amount of age outs we are expecting, minus the retirements, which was 30 over 4 seasons, so 120, minus the current IA players that are rostered at the SHL level. And essentially, at some point, I started putting in also the early call-ups as we were starting to see those emerge. I think over the season, it was only 3 people who hadn't done a full 4 seasons in the J and had been called up early, which one of them, if I recall correctly, was a goalie. So take that in mind. And so we were generally around the 67 to 75 spots required over the next 4 seasons, which, considering 17 roster spots per season, would give us roughly 4 teams, which is, in the event where they would all be active, would be 4 teams at capacity plus the 20 already existing, which was, it's still kind of quote unquote sketchy, but we understand that not everybody will stay active, and the numbers are projections and they can fluctuate to a higher attrition rate, lower attrition rate, more retirements, less retirements, and we'll see. Why are people talking Chipotle in the chat?
We
Okay.
got some good banter in the chat right now. It's good. It's good. We want to make
Frenchie,
sure that
there some people just can't look at numbers. I'm one of them. I was
That's
also
fine.
talking about Chipotle.
That's
So
fine. I
so
was
while we're on this topic here, Frenchie, you're doing a great job. Really appreciate
Yeah.
you going into the math. People that love math. I am not a math guy. People
No,
know
but
that
I mean,
by
there
now.
are people who are like, yeah, there's no justification for this.
Yeah.
How can they
Justification
even
is
be
here.
thinking about this? And
So on this
so we
topic
did the
here,
math.
yeah. So how long have you guys been tracking this math? And at what point did you guys make that determination 2 versus 4 in favor of the 4?
I think we had to wait and make sure that we had enough good apps. Because like even if you want 4 teams, you can't have GM list teams. And you can't expand by more teams than you have GMs. So
Yeah,
for
I
sure we had
mean,
to wait and see how many people we had who were willing to do the job. And we had a
absolutely.
lot come in last minute.
Yeah, we just needed to make sure that we had enough people that were interested in making sure that we could satisfy the amount of teams that this league needs at this point. Can't just force it. Got to have people that are actually interested, that are going to be passionate about it. And thankfully, we had that in spades during this application process. And I'm glad that we were able to get the ball rolling on this early on. We were able to give ourselves plenty of time to do our due diligence in this process. And I'm pretty happy with how things turned out in the end. So pretty excited for it. But we've been tracking the numbers on this for I just specifically these numbers that Frenchie went over. That's been about the last 2 months. But we've really been tracking overall activity check participation, training participation, everything like that for honestly years at this point. It's just an ongoing discussion all the time, trying to make sure we don't get caught in a bad situation where we have to look at a rushed expansion process, which isn't good for anybody. There's too many moving parts in this, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with how everything's turning out. And yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner. That's wonderful. Can I ask some more details about the whole decision-making process here? Now, Jess had mentioned that there were, some fantastic apps that came in last minute here. So just for our audience that are tuned in here, how many total apps? You don't have to give an exact number, but roughly how many applicants expressed an interest in this expansion GM role?
We had roughly 15 individuals that had serious interest. They didn't just, float the idea. They really submitted a genuine application. So we had a good amount of people to pick from.
Great. And I know we have some more stats here, and I'd like to dive into those in a little bit here, Frenchie, too. I wanted to give you a break because you were talking like 5
That's fine.
minutes straight. But I'm kind of curious, and obviously, if you have proprietary information that is not public facing, totally get it. But curious how the voting process kind of worked out. Now, was it like a weighted scale, or was it just raw volume, or how did you guys kind of differentiate between your applicants in this process?
If you
We
want to
should go
move
forward a slide.
yeah,
There's a slide about,
I
yeah.
think there's 2 slides later we go over that.
Yeah, we go into that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Here we go.
So essentially the way we've worked was, first of all, wait until we can get all the apps. Like I think we read as we got them, but the most of the apps came within the last week of them being open, people taking their time to work on them. And once that happened, we went through a first round of voting, basically going off of, everybody talking about the apps, commenting on why this one's good, why this one's better, why this one, is maybe lacking in certain departments. And we went through a first round of voting, which allowed us to narrow the field the first time to a set amount of people we wanted to, know more about, interview, ask them questions to give them the opportunity to maybe go into more specifics about certain elements of their app, be it their vision for the team over the next couple seasons, their GMing philosophy, perhaps their brand. And once that was done and everybody had a chance to go over the answers and maybe answer and some question marks they had in their mind. We went through a second round of voting, which enabled us to get a final 5 after which we were able to, do a weighted vote, an anonymous weighted vote, to where we were able to get our final four and our winners, basically.
So I did just advance the slide here, which talks a little bit about the priorities that you were seeking in this process here. So I think that will help kind of also answer some questions. Before we continue to go down the road of the reveal here, I'm kind of curious for those that had the unfortunate message that went to them that said, hey, we really appreciate your interest in becoming a GM here and during our expansion process. It was very difficult, obviously, to make these decisions. Was there anything that you think could be maybe a consistent topic of improvement or something that they could do to maybe make their applications a little bit better across the board for future expansion opportunities? Or anything else that maybe sticks out to you on that?
I mean, so first thing first, like, I think not being selected isn't because we don't think they'd be a good GM or they'd do a good job. I think Jess alluded to it, but it was such a stacked group of applicants to where we really couldn't go wrong. And ultimately,
We could
how
have
we
picked
they
4 more people and still been ecstatic. So
we'd have been fine. Like, if the numbers were there, I'm not saying they were, and I'm not saying we would have won there, but if we'd done a 16, we would have been, happy with what we had. It just went that way. And depending on how we weigh specific criteria versus others, each individual within HO had different priorities in their own mind, or would rank these priorities differently. So sometimes it could be a lack of experience. Sometimes it may be people who were less, how to say that, less stable in their way to approach GMing a team and their philosophy. It came down to pulling hairs most of the time on why this person would be better than that. So it's hard to say, specifically. I know some people we've had that discussion to have gone ahead and asked questions about this, and we're, super willing to have this discussion with them. It's not really that they weren't good enough. It's mostly that the ones we did end up hiring are that good.
Makes complete sense. All right. Well, I think it is about time for us to jump in and start presenting our expansion GMs. Any closing thoughts from HIF, from the commissioners, before we reveal our first GM?
I just had a fun line here. I was going to say, who's that Pokemon? But
thank you, HIF.
I hope
Great
everybody
analysis as always.
enjoys like my incredibly gay slideshow.
Excellent.
Yeah. Someone on a survey, I will not name names, told us to cut out the gay shit because this is a hockey league, and I say no, never.
I do think we could probably have had more rainbows in the presentation.
We could have a few more, but
yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
Our first.
I hope you guys like my captions here.
Yes, these are all Jess's captions, for the record. The SHL broadcast team do not accept any responsibility for said captions.
Right.
And I don't know.
Click the picture. Yeah, click the picture.
Click it.
Click the picture. Who is that guy?
I wonder.
Okay, you can go to the next slide now. That's how these work. It's this guy.
Insert
Finn, do you want to do it?
Obama meme.
Finn's still muted.
Do what?
Do you want to announce Ace, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah. So Ace was a very strong contender. He's been around for forever. He's stable in his presence on the site. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to build a team no matter the situation. And I think it was one of the pretty obvious selections that we had to make. And that, at least in my opinion, everyone had their own vote at their own ballot. But welcome to the expansion process, Ace. Congratulations.
I'm so stoked. Like, this has been something that has been weighing on my mind since I applied. And, I do say that, it was a difficult process for me because I think this was the only chance that would have made me depart from the Winnipeg GM job. I love the Winnipeg Aurora. I feel like I've been there forever at this point. And I'm just so excited about the potential and the, what we can do here as an expansion GM. And it's just, I am so thankful. So I'm gonna stop making myself sound like an idiot. I'm gonna go ahead and just
Go
kind
to
of
the
move
next
on.
one. Everybody
Let's-
has 2 slides. So everybody's going to have a
Excellent.
profile
Here we
slide
go.
and then a slide of things that we liked about them, which I've covered up with the overlay, unfortunately. So, yeah, this is some stuff that we liked about Ace. Ace has a documented history of building stuff basically from nothing. Something I got to be part of firsthand in Winnipeg. That last hard rebuild where the team was literally the worst team in the league when they drafted me, and then went all the way to several finals and actually even won one. Rip.
Eventually we won one. Thank God. Thank God.
Ace has been in the league over 13 years, which is wild. Yeah, has a track record of following through with stuff. Starting something and then finishing it. His app included a really great detailed layout of his GM philosophy and, both in general and specific to expansion and how he would approach that. And I can say also he's got an ability to find the right people to bring in to address the skills that he doesn't have, which I think is one of the most important things that you can have as a GM. So, yay, Ace.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. This is like the
We're
Obama
making
meme.
him
It's just
uncomfortable.
rough. It's very.
Is Red designated double pick trader, or is that just something you do?
I almost put that in his you might know him from. I almost had getting fired for double trading picks, but I didn't put it in there. I thought that would be mean.
I already started this podcast by saying I don't like math, so 2 is hard. All right.
Listen, Ace. As someone who also got bonked for double trading a pick, I think it's a mark of excellence. So congratulations, bud.
Thank you. Well, I'm just glad to be, a martyr for everybody.
Yep.
But yeah, hey, we got 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4 expansion GMs.
For those in the chat, we are not doing branding tonight. Branding has not been finalized or approved. So you will not see that here tonight. If people want to share their ideas, they're welcome to, but we still have to go through that. Sorry.
No worries. No, at no point did the SHL broadcast team say that any branding would be presented on tonight's podcast. We said expansion GMs revealed. That's all we said.
Mhm.
That's it. All right. So
Rutsy.
I think it's time to go over and reveal our second general manager. What say you,
Okay.
commissioners? Are you on board?
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Our second expansion general manager. Oh, damn it, guys. I'm still having too much fun with this, says Jess. Let's click it. Wow. What is that number? 7. Congratulations, 7. I'll throw it over to you, commissioners.
Yeah. So 7, you definitely know him from many places on this site. He's been GM of the Carolina Kraken in the J, and I just want to say, Ace, when I told you I didn't think 7 was going to apply, I meant that. I did not expect that we would get an app from 7. I was just as surprised as everyone else.
I will tell you that 7 told me he
is-
did not apply. He lied to me right in my face.
It was very last minute. I'll leave. I think maybe when he told you it was true, but he's also one of the J Awards team's heads. He doesn't vote or participate in discussions, so everyone can chill and stop sending angry messages about that. He's also trading cards head. Has really project managed the heck out of that and gotten things on track there. And you might also know him from the Hockey Talk Tonight podcast. Very fun. Come back. Some things that we liked about him. 7 is somebody who, if you've talked to him, you know that he's just kind of passionate about the overall health of the league, both from the J perspective and how the J interacts with the SHL. And that is a perspective that I think is fresh and welcome in the SHL. I can't tell you how many SHL GMs I hear say, "Oh, I don't care about the J. Oh, I don't pay attention to the J," which is fine. You GM your own team, but I like the idea of having in fresh blood that considers the J the vital part of the league that it is. 7 also is one of the most dedicated to player user development and retention. That's always his focus first before being competitive, and because of that he builds competitive teams, but the user development has always been first for him. And his app included a good detailed layout of his vision and strategy for the future of an expansion team.
Another you may know him from could be Trade Talks as well.
Trade talks.
Coming to an SHL GM server near you.
The amount of times when I was a JHO that I had to post the damn Judge Judy gif. Like, come on, let's go. Let's go. Please, for the love of God. Love it. Congratulations, 7. Really well deserved. I mean, that is the prime story behind, you know, putting your dues in and being a successful JGM and advancing to the SHL. And not everybody wants to do that. Some people like to just stay JGMs, but this is really cool. And I'm looking forward to you know, competing with 7 here as he takes on the new role as an expansion general manager. Any closing thoughts from the other commissioners on 7 before we move on to our next expansion GM?
I'm just gonna, you know, take a different hat here. I owe him a lot to who I am today in this league. He drafted me when I was a 2-day-old user, 4th overall, and this is just like essentially if I'm here where I am today in this job, it's in big part to him. So I think this is just, you know, the proof to the pudding of how good he can do as a GM, you know. So I'm super stoked for him.
Excellent.
I'm excited. I'm interested to see in what he can do at the next level. He's proven plenty in the juniors that, you know, just one of those people who's kind of at the point where it's like, what else do you have to prove? Let's, you know, if you get that opportunity to jump up to the next level, especially with a new team, I think he's going to be able to see a lot of success, probably even early on. Just because of the kinds of connections that he's been able to make and develop in this league in the position that he's been in. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious as to where the branding will be going for not just his team, but these other teams. You know, as Jess said earlier, we haven't finalized anything yet in that regard. But I know that whatever 7 comes up with in terms of branding, it's going to be pretty good. So can't wait to see that.
Excellent. All right, I think it's time to talk about a 3rd expansion GM. I think that would be fun. Without further ado, and hey guys, while you're waiting here, just keep in mind at the end of the presentation of GMs, we will be taking Q&A. There will be some things we can't talk about. There'll be some things that we will. So we will go ahead and present some Q&A before we wrap up the episode today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump over and do our 3rd expansion general manager review. Jess regrets to inform you that she was still having fun when she was doing this. And we're going to go ahead and click the button in 3, 2, 1. Who's that Pokemon? Insert the Obama the Obama meme again. We're here again.
Yeah.
Commissioners.
I guess I'll go for this time. You know, essentially, you know him from, well, this podcast, obviously, again. SHL GMing, he has already done, you know, 2 GM stints in Edmonton, resulting in a cup win, then a blow up, and then part of a rebuild before stepping down in Min, which I wasn't there for, but I'll assume he did an okay job there.
I don't think any of us, except
that's
maybe
incorrect.
Ace, was here for that.
Yeah, because he's been here for freaking ever, right?
Ace is here longer, and no, I didn't do a good job of medicine.
We'll forgive him for that since it was in like what, season 4 or something.
It's the before times for sure.
17 and 18, but yeah, basically.
Okay, yeah.
Jesus. All right. SMJHL GMing as well in St. Louis and Kelowna. Was a J commissioner, rookie mentor, currently deep dive grader, and as well a simmer and play-by-play. One of the 2 play-by-plays we have.
And now audit. Well, co-audit.
And now audit head and now expansion GM. Is there anything he doesn't do at this point?
He doesn't have competent internet.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I can't negotiate with my internet to send me a proper router.
Yeah. So, well, basically, in that resume, you can see he has extensive league experience. Has been here for freaking ever. Has been able to, keep maintaining good working relationships in multiple departments, being involved in a lot. Shows, is a testament to that. Has consistently been, a very, very dedicated user, front-facing user, and someone we see pretty much everywhere, which again is reflected in how engaged he is in various parts of this site. He's someone who has been able to, spot pretty conveniently, pretty easily, which kind of players, which kind of users he wants to build a team around. Has, been able to build excellent cores over his time as a GM, previously in Edmonton before blowing up. And even then, the Edmonton today is in large part his acumen with the draft and scouting. And well, again, I touched it on. It has a proven history of rebuilding teams and setting them up for success. So expansion fell pretty much in his ballpark, and he's balancing the NHL fandom best scales with his Habs jersey here. So
What do you mean?
What's not to like? What's not
he's
to like?
weighing it way too heavily. There's too many Habs fans on this call.
Nope.
Hey,
So
talk to us, buddy. Talk to us. How are you feeling, man?
I'm stoked to have a team that finally has some branding. I've been generally pretty low on everyone else's branding, so I expect to get absolutely roasted when I show my team off. But I'm really excited for some of the. I put in multiple concepts in my application. I'm not sure which one head office liked, so I got to wait and see there and then work with them. But I'm really excited for it. I've got some fun colors, some fun concepts. Not really like many of the things in this league, so they'll be a little different. But I'm very excited for it for sure.
Excellent. I know that. So most of you may have known I have a hard time keeping things to myself sometimes. I'm a talker. And when I decided that I was going to apply, Hiff made it clear that he was going to apply. And him and I have just been going back and forth for the last month. And when we got to the crunch time of where this thing was going, I swear to God, we must have been touching base daily at least like 40 times each day talking about it was a process here. So congratulations, buddy, from the bottom of my heart. So stoked that you were able to get it, and really excited to see what you do.
Since we both wrote a frickin' novella you had to read for our application.
Now I'm wishing we had given both of you conflicting incorrect information and pitted you against each other.
Yeah, there was actually a mistake. Neither of us were selected.
100%.
We thought about, before we came on this podcast, telling both of you that the other one didn't get it, and then making you find out.
Oh my God, it was the worst week. I was like, can I know if he got it? Can I talk to him, please, for the love of God? Let me talk to him. Anyways, all right.
I didn't want to ask if he got it because I didn't know if he knew, so I didn't want to so that would have been awful.
I was asked to be sworn to secrecy, so I take that very seriously here. Anyways, we have another GM. We have another GM to announce. Congrats, Hiff. Really happy for you. Let's go ahead and jump over and find out who is our fourth and final general manager for the expansion. Congratulations, username, player name. Just kidding. That was a bad joke. I'm a father. I apologize. All right, let's go ahead and jump over. Our final expansion general manager reveal. I am not having fun anymore. I am a boring person who takes all of my fake jobs in sports very seriously, and I have vowed to exercise my sense of fun. Wow, it's him.
Half the fun of building this was asking people what represented them. So
it's him. That
it's
guy.
Him. Yeah.
It's that boy.
It's that boy. I don't know if anyone has guessed. This is his new player.
Congratulations, Rashford. Oh, man. And I'll let you commission. I'm sorry. It's my show right now. I'm the host right now.
Please.
Rashford, buddy, I am so stoked for you. It was my immense pleasure working with you as a GM in Winnipeg for so long. And I just knew that you at one day would take over and be just one of the best head general managers in this community one day. And you're here, and now we're going to compete against each other. And I'm not looking forward to that, candidly, but really, really excited for you and glad you were able to get this opportunity. So really, really happy for you, Rash.
I'm going to congratulate you, but in a different vein. It's going to be a little more tongue-in-cheek. Just like Rashford was the second best SMJHL defenseman of all time. You two will be the
Oh,
best expansion GM in this class.
wow. I like that you're dunking on both Rashford and Ace there.
Someone had to. Ace is too happy.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
fine.
So you'll notice Rashford's list here. You know, he doesn't have a million SHL jobs like some people do, including me. But the things that he does so deliberately and with so much thought and care. You will never see him take on a job half-assed. Like never, not in the entire time I have seen him in sim leagues has he ever done anything half-assed. He was Winnipeg GM for a long time, co-GM with Ace. Did a little stint in LA as co-GM when there was a co-GM needed. He was, I think, a acknowledged interim co-GM there, supporting Whitecap and never really intending to be the long-term co-GM there. Hall of Fame committee. And one of the most impressive things that I have seen him do is actually in SSL, where I'm also on the board there, where he took a team that was essentially deliberately run into the ground, like not just poorly managed, but intentionally poorly managed out of like spite, and took that team from a disaster into basically a dynasty, a team that is always good now. And that's even more impressive when you consider the fact that in SSL there's one organization, like the manager of an organization runs both the minors and the majors team, and his minors and majors teams are both consistently good and very active. So here's some stuff about Rashford. He's very good at acknowledging his weaknesses and finding people to fill those gaps, recognizing where he needs support and not being afraid to ask for it. He's got an incredible history of just getting people to buy into a team when the path to that team being very good is not apparent to everyone. He can motivate people to believe in that. He's also literally just one of the nicest people you will ever talk to. Like if you ever hear Rashford say something negative about someone, you know they really screwed up.
I want to say it's like having a second Coop in GM chat, and that'd be pretty fun.
Wait, Rashford says something negative about me all the time.
Yeah, but you're not.
That's how we know, you know he's comfortable around you, because he will like never, yeah. And he builds teams that aren't just good, but they're good, healthy locker rooms that people want to be a part of. So he's got a lot going for him here.
Frenchie, any thoughts on the Rashford selection?
I haven't been able to. Well, I haven't been around Rashford as much as some of you have. He's been 4 or 5 seasons in lap. I think winning a cup the first season he was there as as Jess said, the interim GM, well, co-GM. And honestly, you can immediately feel the impact of someone like Rashford on just how I'll use the word professional, just how professionally run a team can be. Always on top of the budget, contract negotiations, always on top of blocks going up, inquiring about, oh, this player, that player, how can we get better? He always has something cooking. It's not always something we end up going for, but he's really always considering every possible angle for his team to get better. And that's just something that you can't ignore when such an app comes through, that he will do literally everything in his power to make this team a success. And just on top of that, being one of the most genuinely nice human beings that I've had the pleasure to meet on this site. So it's really just setting up this team for success.
100% agree. Mr. Commissioner, WannabeFinn.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Rashford's not been around as oh god. He's not been around as long as some of the other candidates, but he's been here long enough to really establish himself as someone who is easily identifiable as one of the premier team builders within this league, even if that has yet to be with the title of head manager. But I'm really excited to see what he can do over here, and I think we have 4 really great people coming into this league, and I think we're going to be in a good spot in terms of the health of every franchise. That was really the biggest thing for me personally when we were going through this process is making sure that we're picking people who they're not going to be gone in a season or 2 or 3. You know, they're going to be here a while. They're going to build the team the right kind of way. They're not going to sell off a bunch of assets and go for a run too quick and then leave the team to just whoever else to come in and pick up the pieces. So I'm really pumped for these 4 people, and can't wait to move on and get these brandings finalized, get the expansion rules finalized, and then we can really start to see things like protection lists, things like that. So this process really is still has a ways to go, but it's getting pretty fun now.
Great. All right, guys. So there are our 4 GMs. We're not done here yet, though. We have some fun data to share with you, or some information here about the next steps for expansion. So let's go ahead and jump over to there. But yeah, meet the GMs. Myself, we got 7. We have HIF. We have Rashford. Very excited for the next era in the Simulation Hockey League. Upcoming events. So we have some timelines here for you guys. So it wasn't just GMs. We actually have some data here for you in regards to what's next.
Everything here is subject to change. These are tentative.
Nope. There's only 1 asterisk. So that's the only date that is.
It's for the whole line.
I don't believe in asterisks, so.
So yeah, okay. So everything will be subject to change, but here's some rough data that the head office has been happy to provide us. So our protection lists and more details around the expansion rules will be coming soon. TM, that's straight from Frenchie. So stay tuned on the expansion rules. But the protection lists will be due on April 20th. Branding reveals will be due on or before May the 4th be with you. And then the expansion and SHL draft lottery will be on May 25th.
We don't have the draft lottery in the SHL.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Is something changing on that front too?
It's a leak on potential expansion.
Ooh.
Teasers.
Whoa. All right. So you heard it here first on SHL tonight. Then maybe there's going to be an SHL lottery too. Balls. And then finally, the expansion draft itself is tentatively scheduled for June the 1st. So, any thoughts on these dates or anything else you want to bring up, commissioners, on this slide here?
I'd like to stress that just because brandings are due on May 4th doesn't mean you all need to save it until May 4th. Like, feel free to
I don't know about
drama. Build the drama way before that.
We plan on dragging it out and making people gas with horrible teasers.
Yeah, we already have a good guess in the chat here for HIF, the Mustafar High Grounds.
Yeah, I considered it. They're in my top 3 for sure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anything from you, Frenchie? Anything from you, Finn, before we wrap up on this and maybe take some Q&A from our listeners today?
I've got nothing for right now.
Excellent.
Happy to take some questions though.
Great. And if you guys have questions for anyone specific, please specify who the question is for, and then we will be glad to route the question to the appropriate recipient. We have a question for Frenchie. What is on your hat?
As far as I can tell, it's a Mickey Mouse. So it's I'm a Disney.
What is French for Mickey Mouse?
Mickey Mouse.
Thank you for the translation.
Mickey Mouse with a French accent.
Yeah, it said French in French. Yeah.
Mickey Mouse says Frenchly.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Question for the new GMs. Which one of you will pull a Vegas Golden Knights and swindle San Francisco Pride out of another good player in order to draft me journeyman? It's not going to be me. It's probably HIF.
Yeah, I'm known for just going full on contending. Definitely did that in Minnesota. Did end very poorly for me.
So
you did mention you didn't do a good job there. So
I did say that. We made the finals, game 7, lost, blew it up to rebuild, and then we didn't rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that, and this is nothing finalized yet, what I would like to do at some point, maybe not next week, but in the coming weeks, I would like to do an expansion GM roundtable that has all 4 of our new expansion GMs, myself, Hiff, Seven, and Rashford on a podcast coming up.
Actually, a Lego person too.
He probably does look like one. I've worked with the guy for years and I've never actually seen him. So I don't know. It would be interesting. Question for Hiff. Will you being a GM make you slower at Path of Exile 2 grinding?
Not at all. I'm willing to sacrifice my team to grind Path of Exile 2 all day, every day.
Excellent.
Is it too late to select someone
Yep,
else?
it's too late. It's been announced.
Fuck.
Yeah. No, you can get fired pretty quickly. I can confirm that firsthand.
Trade any picks.
How many times can you trade picks? I don't know. It depends. Can you get it back? If you trade it back to me, I'll trade it twice. I don't care. All right. It doesn't look like we're going to get too many serious questions. If you do have serious questions, please throw them in here. If not, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. I want to be respectful of the commissioner's time. And we also have a wonderful 4-star cup final that I would highly suggest everyone to jump over and tune into to find out who's going to hoist the 4-star cup final here.
Lona and Carolina going at it.
You know, the Knights and the Kraken. And now you know Seven's a GM. Will Seven go out on top as a JGM?
I think he also has this upcoming season too, though.
Yeah, that's true. But still. That's kind of a good question. Yeah, Koa here, and this is probably for the commissioners. I can tell you firsthand that it was considered, but commissioners, Koa asked, did you consider the impact of Winnipeg losing their head GM, and was that planned for by Ace?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will say we received it was more than just Ace. I mean, there were other managers that applied that were sitting managers, and in the interest of transparency, to be honest, I don't think anyone necessarily enjoyed having a candidate that was a sitting manager, because it kind of feels like just shuffling the shuffling chairs around, and there's still someone else you have to hire, and things like that. But at the same time, gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I just completely blanked.
It was indeed taken into account. The commissioner.
It was taken into account, but we feel that Ace in particular is someone that we feel is such a stable, well-rounded choice that it would be we would be working in bad faith to not consider him a strong candidate for the position. So it is something that was planned for. There is something that we believe is kind of lined up. The things will still go through applications. We'll still go through that whole process, but this isn't something we had our heads in the sand about throughout the process.
Koa, I'm gonna just kind of put your question on the screen here, Koa, but I'm gonna talk about it real quick as well from my personal perspective. And we're not gonna have any branding, like we said earlier. No branding will be talked about today, no locations or anything like that. But Koa's question is there any chance that we would see SHL and J teams in the same city, with places like Detroit and Colorado only having J teams? Is there any apprehension toward having a J and an SHL franchise in the same location? Commissioners, anybody?
Yes, I was waiting to see if Finn was going to grab that.
Yeah, so I'd say, generally speaking, we want to share the wealth. We want to spread the love. We want to make sure that there's plenty of great hockey communities that end up getting represented at one level or the other. So I think, generally speaking, we're probably going to avoid doubling up on cities, unless that's, I mean, I'm not going to speculate, but generally speaking, we try to not double up.
All right. Well, further to that, at this time, do you foresee a potential Ohio team coming?
Ooh.
There's definitely a non-zero chance of that. There's nothing concrete, but it's in the cards.
And is that the only reason why you chose that applicant?
No, actually, also in the interest of transparency, I did not participate in the voting. I was reserving my vote in the case of tie breaking. So that did, there was no bias for me in regards to that. I was definitely happy to see that when I was reviewing the applications. I was hoping somebody would put that there. However, that did not play a role in the vote or anything like that.
And we did get more than one mention of Ohio in apps.
Excellent.
There was not just one.
Didn't come from me. You'll hear that first right now. It was not. I'm not an Ohio guy. So, any other questions before we wrap up? We got a J final to go watch, guys. So anything good? I'll give you like 10 seconds. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap up here.
There was one question that was missed about the size of S82 as far as inactives and if it was on par with
Yeah,
their
thank you,
usual rate.
Frenchie. Yeah, right here.
They're a bit accelerated in terms of percentage of the class going IA. They're 27% currently as opposed to 28 for S81. So draw those conclusions, but the inactivity rate is not a linear progression. It fluctuates. So perhaps they stall there for a while, and they've reached a plateau of people going inactive early. And ultimately, we use 40 because it's always a bit above or a bit below, but never really super far off.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's it for questions, guys. Commissioners, thank you so much once again for utilizing the SHL Tonight platform for announcing it. Stay tuned. I'm sure that there will be a forum post to follow with actual information for our forum users that did not have the chance to tune in. And like I said, we've got a lot of other really exciting things cooking up. One last time, please make sure that you follow the Twitch account. You can find us on, Twitch at just literally, it's easy, Simulation Hockey League. So toss us a follow there. We're trying to build that platform up so we can do some creative stuff down the road. So on behalf of the SHL broadcast team and SHL Tonight, thank you so much for tuning into tonight's broadcast. We're very excited about the future of the league and what the next steps are, and stay tuned for more details.
Did he just leave? I think we're still live.
Dip.
I'm pretty sure we're still live.
We are.
Ace, buddy.
He just left us here.
No, it's my button is gone. I can't end the stream. It's acting up very odd. So this is cool. I don't know how to end the stream.
Let's
see if we can do that. All right, here we go. Remove. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.